Put you guys in the holder. Good morning, replay viewers. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today we're going to be driving to Newcastle, Indiana. Got a little bit of the sunrise going for you there. We're going to be taking some back roads. And thanks for joining me. This should be a calm drive. And we'll probably end up seeing some school buses and stuff. Maybe. I think school is in session. I don't know. Well, I mean, I know it's in session, but I think that, I think the kids are going in classroom. They might be going virtual because of the pandemic. I don't have children, so I'm not sure what our local school district is doing. But, it is, let's see, 7:15. And, it is sunrise. Sunrise was 7:14. Oh, okay. And, we are going to take you through the drive here, starting out at the Ohio-Indiana border, and we're going to drive over to the town of Newcastle, which is about 45 miles north of Indianapolis. And tell you little tidbits about the, yikes, goodness, trucks everywhere. Tell you little tidbits about the towns as we go through them. And I hope you guys enjoy. If you like this kind of stuff, kind of like car travel and things of that nature, that's what my channel is. Well, a lot of what my channel is. I also do paranormal investigations and Disney stuff, as in Disney World, Disneyland. Hopefully someday I would love to go to the other Disney parks, Tokyo and Hong Kong and Paris. But the only parks that I can guarantee with any sort of certainty is Disneyland and Disney World. I also do streams with my dog getting his bark boxes, his monthly subscription box, and some of the road adventures I have with him. He's my co-pilot. Right now we're going through Glen Miller Park, and we might actually see some deer at this time in the morning. I'm not sure. This is in the border city of Richmond, which is just across the Ohio-Indiana border from Dayton, Ohio. So, central Indiana. And this is one of the large parks in that city. It's a beautiful park. Of course, it's barren right now because of, it's December 11th, so no leaves on the trees or grass or anything like that. Everything's dead for the winter, but I find it beautiful in any season. I really do. This is right along some railroad tracks. They're over behind the trees to the left. And interesting note about this area is the Lincoln funeral train actually passed by on these tracks, and that little S-curve that we went by, General Sedgwick was a Civil War general, actually stood and gave a memoriam speech about Lincoln, or for Lincoln, as his funeral train rolled by. And there used to be a plaque there. I want to be a part of the group that, or I am part of the group who wants to see that plaque return. I think it would be neat to memorialize that, or to identify that spot, to show the history that is here. Pardon me if I'm sniffling and coughing and stuff. I have allergies, and the morning air kind of gets them all riled up. So I apologize for the sniffles and the throat clearing and coughing and such. Heading out of Richmond. Well, we have to head through Richmond just a little bit, and then we are going to be heading out on Indiana 38, which goes from just about the Ohio border. We're actually going to start at the beginning or end, depending on which way you're traveling. We're gonna hop on 38 at the. Excuse me. My goodness, I'm sorry. We're gonna be hopping on 38 where it ends or starts, and it goes all the way halfway across the state to Indianapolis. And then it curves north a little bit, so we're only going to take it to Newcastle, which, as I said, is about 45 miles north of Indianapolis. But we'll probably see a lot of trucks. We may see some Amish buggies. We do have some Amish folks who live on that road, and a lot of times they're bringing their items to sell, and there are several businesses that they own along that road as well, or just off that road, so they might be going into work also. So there is a chance that we will see an Amish buggy. If we do, I'll talk a little bit more about it, but I'm not going to try to film any of their faces or anything. I mean, if I happen to get it, my phone is on a stand, so if I happen to get a face, I get a face, but I'm not going to try. It is in their belief that photos and pictures are vain, and therefore they don't like them. They don't want to be in them, and of course I respect that. Also, I am not one of those people who tend to just fly around, zip around the buggies. Their horses are very used to traffic, but I would be devastated if something I did spooked one of them or anything like that, and caused an accident, just as I would be terribly upset if I caused an accident to someone in a vehicle. But the folks are a lot less protected in their buggies. They don't have the bumpers and the airbags and all of that in there, so they often are injured much more than an individual would be in the same crash if they were in a vehicle. So we are now on Indiana 27. Actually, I take that back. It's not Indiana 27 because it goes through a couple states. Or I think, you know, I might be wrong on that. I think it goes into Michigan. Pretty sure it does. Anyway, regardless if it's Indiana or U.S., we are on Highway 27. I will just put it that way. As you can see, the sky is starting to brighten there on the right-hand side. That side is east. With the sunrise, and we are going to be heading west. For deer. So we don't want to hit any of those beautiful little creatures, or big creatures. Especially at this time in the morning. They are kind of getting up and getting ready to go out and have their breakfast and start their days. Starting days. How do you guys start your day? Do you normally have breakfast? Are you a person that's hungry when they wake up? Or does it take you a little while to get hungry and eat breakfast? Or do you wake up to a few cups of coffee and you're good, you don't need really any food? I am not one to wake up hungry. I have to kind of do a little bit to kind of get myself hungry. But I know some people, you know, just wake up and they're like, okay, you know, I haven't eaten since dinner last night and I'm hungry. Or they wake up to, you know, the smell of someone in their home cooking a meal and they immediately want breakfast. For me, it was always a little bit of a battle for me to eat breakfast before I went to school. I was never hungry enough. I didn't want to have food. Because I like my sleep, so I never really woke up early enough in time to just spend time to get hungry. I would wake up and get dressed and go to school. So, you know, by the time I got to school, I was usually hungry. But what about you guys? Do you guys wake up hungry? I should have gone when that truck was going. Oh well. A lot of semi trucks take this route, so you'll see a lot of them. He's getting on the freeway. Yay. Have a wonderful, safe drive, Mr. Truck, or Miss Truck, Ms. Truck. And thank you for moving out of my way. Briefly gonna get on 35 here, just to kind of get us over to 38. Alrighty. Like I said, lots of trucks. This is a big trucking thoroughfare. And actually the whole way through is kind of a trucking road. So we're gonna see a lot of those guys, or gals. But that's okay, they help us get stuff where it needs to go. I genuinely appreciate them. And honestly, I would rather meet them on country roads like this than on the freeways. We've had a lot of freeway accidents on Interstate 70, which is what the interstate is that goes through this portion of Indiana. And a lot of those crashes involve those semi-big rigs because it's a main trucking route for across the country. It goes from Maryland to, I know, at least Colorado. I think it goes into Nevada. Gosh, I'm not sure about that. I know it goes at least through Nevada, through Colorado. Trucks that go on it, and there's a lot of construction, and sometimes those two things do not go well together. So we are now on 38, Indiana 38. Like I said, that was the beginning or the end of it, depending on which direction you're going. And it goes on through Indianapolis, so you can take this road to Indianapolis. It goes a little north, but you can use it to reach the northern suburbs of Indianapolis if you'd like. There are several roads, obviously, that go to Indianapolis, because that's where everybody wants to go. It's the capital. So I'm gonna be quiet here in the next little bit and let you kind of enjoy the scenery. It's a beautiful area here, and you can kind of see the countryside wake up. Oh, real quickly, that red barn off to the left is a llama farm. And a few of those little guys were out in the field starting their days. So now I'm going to be quiet and kind of let you wake up to the countryside. said, we may come across a few of those. Start was named after, well, both the city and the fork of the river. A gentleman by the name of Johnny Green, and Johnny was a member of the Delaware Nation. Was an indigenous person from the Delaware Nation of Native Americans, and he, I don't know if he well, I don't think the indigenous folks claimed to own the land, because they believed that the land was not to be owned, but he lived in this area and was very well known. Off to the right there, that used to be the Clay Township School. This is in Clay Township. And they closed that school, and now it's the volunteer fire department. But this is the town of Greens Fork, Indiana. And its post office was given postal rights in 1823. So, not super old in terms of Indiana age, but wonderful little town. They're coming up on their 200th anniversary, and it'll be nice to see them celebrate that. It would be really cool if they were able to get some of Mr. Green's descendants to come and join them for the celebration. I don't know if their museum and their heritage folks have tracked it, but that would be fairly cool. I think it'd be neat for the city and for Mr. Green's descendants to know that, or maybe they already know, maybe they live there. In this part of the country, people are not as migratory, so they might live there, or near. I'm originally from California, and excuse me, so I'm used to thinking in terms of people being migratory with, oh, well, of course your family wouldn't be around, because folks in California are very migratory, but here in Indiana you have families that live in 150-year-old farmhouses that their great-great-grandfather built, which I absolutely love. I love that type of familial history, and just, the being able to be in a house that someone from your family built, or living on the land that one of your ancestors planted crops on, or stuff like that. I just think that that's neat. It gives a real sense of same land for 150 years that you're stagnant, and they prefer to move. And that's why it takes all kinds of folks to make up this incredible country, who I hope is on the mend. America's kind of going through some growing pains right now. And hopefully we will come out of it better than when we went in. You can start seeing some of the pinks in the sky now from the sun reaching high enough to illuminate the clouds to the west. So that's pretty. Part of Indiana, excuse me, is you really know when you've left one city and are entering another. Sometimes in the bigger cities you don't know where one area ends and one area begins, but in this part of Indiana you sure do. I remember when I first moved here, I was like, well, what addresses do these houses have out here? And so I was explained that it was, the countryside of Greens Fork, or the countryside of Hagerstown, which is the next town we're coming up to. And the mail postal folks, they just know who you are. Now coming into the town of Hagerstown, Indiana. Well, once we go down this hill. And this little stretch is where I kind of thought we would see folks with their horses and buggies, Amish folks. But we haven't, so that's alright. To be honest with you, we're probably too late. Those folks get up super early and they go to bed super early, typically. They kind of use every bit of daylight because they don't use electricity, although many of them now use gas and battery power and things like that. So the whole going to bed at dark doesn't necessarily apply, because they can use gas lamps for light and things of that nature. This is the town of Hagerstown, and Hagerstown was named after or in honor of Hagerstown, Maryland. I think their post office opened, which is kind of when the government considers it an official town. 1843? 1833? Somewhere just after Greens Fork. Okay, it doesn't say who it is. Oh, Greens Fork had a population of about 400. And Hagerstown has a population of about 2,000. So there's that little tidbit. was some industry in Hagerstown in the early days, and so Hagerstown grew a little bit more, and Greens Fork was kind of a suburb. This is Hagerstown, Indiana. They have sweet little Christmas decorations. I love the small town Christmas decorations. As I mentioned earlier in the stream, I do have allergies. And yesterday it was actually in the 50s, so it was nice enough to open up the windows. And I let all of the outside air in, which apparently is not sitting well with my nose. Frost on the grass. It's about 35 degrees this morning, which is not bad at all for December 11th. Cemetery over there, a little family cemetery. Yep, there's a school bus. So I guess the kids in this area are going to classrooms, or doing in-room schooling or in-person schooling, however they put it. Not doing virtual. Or maybe they're doing a hybrid. Some places are doing hybrids, like a few days on campus and then the rest of the days virtual to keep the number of kids down. Sign of the times. I think we have some farm equipment coming up here too. Gotta love driving the rural roads. Yep. I remember the first time, as I mentioned, I'm a transplant from California, so I remember the first time I was driving one of these roads and I saw one of those farm vehicles. It was out in a field, and it was nighttime. And I tell you, if you people haven't seen those farm vehicles with their lights on, it's a whole new ball of wax. At least the combines, they look like a flippin' UFO, and you can tell that, it's in the middle of a field, it's not on a road, and so you're not anticipating it being a vehicle at all. So it kind of takes you back. If you haven't seen that, go ahead and YouTube night farming vehicles at night or something, and take a look at it, because it's pretty intense. Passing a sign for the Wilbur Wright birthplace, and we'll go over there when it's open again. Wilbur Wright was born in this area. Wilbur Wright of Wright Brothers aviation fame. In fact, I think I'll do a series on that, on the Wright family. They lived in several areas in this part of Indiana. Like I said, in the beginning of the stream, we are just over the Indiana-Ohio border from Dayton, which is where most people associate the Wright brothers from. And that's true. They did live there, and they did have their bicycle business there. So maybe sometime this spring we'll do a Wright family collection of streams, or series of streams. And we'll start off with where Milton Wright met his wife, and where they moved, and where each of the boys were born, and they lived in the city that we started from, which is Richmond, Indiana. Alright, there's a person on my tail, and I'm behind a pickup truck and a semi. It makes it look like there's more space in front of us than there is. There's not really very much space. So I don't know where this person thinks that he or she is going to go, but being on my tail is not going to make me not going to make the semi go any faster. Oh, jeez. Really? You're going to pass 3? Oh, God. Jeez, yeah. Good Lord, people. And as you can see, there's oncoming traffic. Sorry, I got distracted from the Wright family story by people jeopardizing all of our lives in the vehicles that he or she just passed, because they did not know if there was any vehicle in front of the semi or not. Anyway, sorry. So we'll start from where Milton Wright met his wife. Milton and his wife, I am blanking on her name right now, I'm sorry, but they're the parents of Orville and Wilbur. And they actually had other children, but most people know Orville and Wilbur. And so we'll start off where they met, or where they lived. I'm assuming they met there, but I don't know. Wow, where did that minivan go? Oh, minivan's gone already. And then where they moved and where the boys were born, or where each of the boys were born. So they were born in different locations. And where the boys went to school. And then we'll go ahead and end it at the bicycle shop where they built the first frame. I don't know that I would make it out to Kill Devil Hills in North Carolina. Maybe. I don't know. That might be fun. But I can promise you Orville and Wilbur Wright family locations in the immediate area. I can't promise you going to North Carolina. But like I said, we'll do that when things are open again. We can go now, but you just see the outside of the building. It's obviously not as interesting. I'll take a look and see if it's open. It may be open on a like a reservation basis or something. Some of our museums in this area are open on reservation bases. So I'll look into that. If you guys are interested in seeing a series on the Wright family in this area of Indiana and Ohio, let me know down in the comments. I mean, I think it's interesting, but that doesn't necessarily mean you guys do. Although, I mean, I think it would be a good series to do, and if you guys are interested, would love to have you tune in, and if not, then that can just be something that you don't watch as much. We are now coming into the town of Newcastle. Newcastle was actually in the grand tradition of Indiana, it seems. Newcastle was named after the city of Newcastle, Kentucky. Honestly, I'm not sure why. I don't know if the people who settled there moved here from that area in Kentucky, or I don't know that much about Newcastle, Kentucky, so I don't really know what was going on there. But this is Newcastle, Indiana, and Richmond, where we started, was the county, or is the county seat of Wayne County, Indiana, and Newcastle is the county seat of Henry County, Indiana, excuse me, which is the next county over to the west from Wayne. So we're going from one county seat to the next county seat. At least in this trip we are. So this is Newcastle. Newcastle used to have a lot of automobile manufacturing. GM had a motors plant here. And that was the big industry in the area. They had a lot of machine plants. Like just general machinery. Manufacturers here. They also house the Henry County jail, which is one of the lesser interesting things, but it's true. And the Henry County jail does provide a lot of employment for folks, so that's a positive. Newcastle, you can see their courthouse tower off there in the distance and just to the left of the center of the screen. And Newcastle has one of those beautiful Italianate courthouses. Tell you, that's one of the things I really love about these little towns, is their courthouses are amazing. And they have the quintessential, almost Hallmark-ish courthouse square. You know, I always kind of thought it was fake, but it isn't. It exists in little towns like this. And it's amazing. I love the little courthouse squares and the beautiful courthouse towers. This tower always reminds me of the clock tower from Back to the Future. It's over to the left, if you can say. I'm not sure how well it's coming into view, but it's a cute little clock tower. So we're gonna go down this hill and then get on Indiana 3 and take that up to the office building that we're heading to. as our final destination. So, just about to the end of our destination here. This hill, I don't know if it's coming across very well on camera, but it's a little dicey in the winter. Well, in the snow, I should say, because it's winter now, but I'm not sure. It doesn't look very steep on the stream, but it's fairly steep. I mean, not like mountainous steep. It's a hill, but it's still a little dicey when it's icy. Yes, pun intended, or alliteration intended. Alrighty, this intersection here is Indiana 3. Road goes up just about to the Michigan border. If you take this road all the way up, you'll be just to the west of Fort Wayne. And this is right where we're heading. There's a little bit more of the sunrise for you heading south. Alrighty, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this trip. Really appreciate it. Everyone have a wonderful day. And here, I will flip this around and say goodbye. Oh, bye. Have a great